Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. So Robert D sent me a donation asking me to play with a Field of the Dead deck. They just really enjoyed this card, but it's gotten banned in a few different formats that they played, and they wanted to kind of like see it make a last hurrah in a Legacy. So obviously we're going to want to play a lot of lands if we're playing Field of the Dead, and there's a lot of different directions you can play. Jesse on Twitter sent me a list when I was like, hey, send me your spicy Field of the Dead lists, and I really like this one. So essentially, this is a Bant lands deck that goes creature heavier than most of the lands builds do. We're really trying to abuse Dryad of the Elysian Grove, which lets us play an additional land each turn and turns all of our lands into every basic land type. More on that in a second. So the idea is that between Exploration, Dryad, and Green Sun for Dryad, we can absolutely just dump all of our lands into play very quickly, and we can keep getting lands back to play via Life from the Loam, which dredges more lands into the graveyard. You get the idea there. Our Green Sun package is pretty small. We have Primeval Titan at the very top end for those times where we've just made it to the end game, and that can let us tutor up either the Field of the Dead and maybe a Valakut, or it can just get the Dark Depths and Thespian Stage combo itself. But other times it can just grab utility lands, and we have a handful of those in here: Caracas, Bojuka Bog, Tabernacle, and Yavimaya, which can be another way to turn some of these colorless lands into things that produce green. As far as our general game plan goes, we're a little more interactive than normal lands is, in that we have both Swords to Plowshares and Prismatic Ending, whereas a lot of the lands decks just normally rely on something like Punishing Fire. We're not in red, so we lose access to Valakut Exploration, which is a very powerful card, but we really do gain quite a bit by being able to play Prismatic Ending. I cannot emphasize enough how good it is to have something that just answers darn near everything in Game 1 scenarios. As far as the sideboard goes, the sideboard feels a little weird to me. So it seems like this deck has an absolute hard time beating combo, and that's not surprising given the main deck. But it feels like almost all of these cards exist for combo. I think that means I'm going to end up sideboarding minimally in some rounds, but hopefully in those rounds I'm already winning because my main deck is so configured to just grind out fair decks. That's the hope. There's a decent amount of Yorian control piles running around though, so we'll see how that plays out in practice. I'm excited to give this one a go. I don't think I have too much else to say about it. Oh, I guess I should explain this real quick in case you're not a modern player and you're not used to Valakut. So whenever a mountain enters the battlefield under your control, if you control at least 5 other mountains, you may have Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle, deal 3 damage to any target. Now you'll notice we don't really have mountains in this deck, right? Except with Dryad, everything becomes mountains. So in the late game, you can go have a Dryad, just start making land drops and lightning bolting things left and right, and then that ends up being really powerful. Anyway, if you're new here, please consider subscribing for sweet magic content all the time, and if you're a regular already, throw me a like before this video begins. It's the easiest way to support my content for free. If you end up wanting to try this one out because you like what it looks like, yeah, that information is available in the video description, as is my donation information. There we go. All right, let's battle. Okay, I just don't have the right colors here, and especially if I end up playing against Death and Taxes, and I think my opponent's a Death and Taxes player. This is one land drop away from greatness. Oh, wow. I think I'm gonna keep it. I think I pitched the Exploration with one land in hand that doesn't work super well. So on turn 1, I have a choice. I can play the Forest and just set myself up to be immune to Wasteland, or I can set it up so that I can actually Brainstorm next turn if I miss my land drop, and I'm going to go for that second one. If I get Wastelanded, I will hopefully eventually get to the point where I can just play a Life from the Loam and everything's fine. But as we can see here, I've definitely got some strange mana issues this game. I guess I play Brainstorm Fetch and Swords of the Plowshares this. That's otherwise my, like, future Prismatic Endings aren't particularly good. Oh, right. I don't need another Life from the Loam. I care more about Dryad or Sylvan Library. I think I care more about Dryad. Sylvan Library is awesome, but, like, Life from the Loam plus multiple land drops a turn is pretty sexy. This has to be Tundra. Where's the Plowshares that? And I'll get in for a whopping 1 point of damage. And then I'll have some real choices from here as far as, like, what do I do? Okay, yeah, that's fine. I don't care about that. I don't even know that I remove that right now. Yeah, I don't think I will. My Elvish Reclaimer size here is a little bit awkward. I'll just start with the Savannah here. I'll take the draw 3. Alright, good stuff. I'm not sure if I actually want to trade off with the Spirit of the Labyrinth. I don't need Elvish Reclaimer right now, but a 3/4 butt is pretty appealing. Hoo-hoo. I will have to Prismatic Ending that away on my turn. Okay, they have Cauldron in hand. That's fine. Alright, so now I get the choice. Like, do I want to just junk that? Sure. I really don't care about this Elvish Reclaimer right now. And I might have to take 2 hits to get to the point where I can do what I want. Yes, I'm fine dredging. Alright. So I can play Dryad and play an additional land drop. So I'll do that. I'll make both my land drops. Oh, I don't even have to fetch here if I don't want. That's right. I'll go like white, blue. That gets me the 2 different colors to answer Stoneforge. Alright, and now I have like Life from the Loam plus additional land drops. Sure, your recruiter's fine. What do you have to get here? Is it just going to be Flicker Wisp? Solitude, sure. Yeah. Alright, that's all fine. Ramunap Excavator. Not super necessary when I have Life from the Loam. That's fine. Let's grab one of these. Grab one of these. I'll play my Ramunap. I'll play out a land from graveyard. Go ahead and fetch. Pick up this. And grab 3 lands while I'm at it. Okay. So, oh, neat. Alright, that's a Yori into hand. That's all fine. Yeah, I'll just dredge. That's fine. Sure. Like the upside of dredging is that at some point I have a pretty good chance of just hitting an Uro. I just gonna Life from the Loam again, or am I gonna start taking draw steps and trying to find like a Primeval Titan or a Green Sun or something? I think I'm ready for draw steps now. Like I can still play another land from graveyard, and I have multiple other land drops to make. By the way, in case I haven't said this yet, I think lands style decks are one of the hardest decks to play in Legacy. Like, I think lands and Death and Taxes have like some of the highest skill ceiling, where like you get really rewarded for knowing what you're going to be doing at all times, and really punished for errors that you make. It's the sort of thing where like the more you play the deck, the more rewarded you are for like the little fringe things that you play around. What is this recruiter going to get? A Stoneforge Mystic. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and take a real draw. We'll play a Dryad. Play a Yavimaya. Play a Forest. How am I winning? Because this Cauldron just comes down next turn if my opponent has that land drop. I can overwhelm pretty quickly if I get a Field of the Dead. Tabernacle's not great. Uro or Primeval Titan. Or just like hitting a Valakut would do it. Yeah, so this is what I mean. Like, am I supposed to be Life from the Loaming because like hitting a Valakut is so good, or am I supposed to like just go ahead and play towards my Green Suns and Primeval Titans and such being as good as they normally would be? Alright, opponent's grabbing Jitte. That's fine. That doesn't pose an immediate threat. It starts to get annoying next turn, though, because like then I can start losing Dryad and Ramunap and whatnot. My position is slipping, but can absolutely just turn on a dime, and Prismatic... Oh, nice. Prismatic Ending also becomes quite good. Alright, so what is my path to victory here? Well, I'm going to play this Valakut. I want to keep this alive. Do I just go after this in order to try and do that? No, I don't think that's going to work the way I want it to. Alright, try to take out that Stoneforge. Absolutely, I will use this ability. I will play a fetch land from graveyard. I'll tag the Mother of Runes with that. Yeah, you can protect your Yorion, that's fine. Yes. So now I can fetch one more time. I'm gonna end up losing this Dryad to this. That's fine. I can hopefully spike another one and then end up right back in the same position, or like maybe find a Karakas. I'm gonna fetch. The other thing I have to watch out for is that my opponent can just like use Geotype Pump and put me in kind of a weird situation. I'm gonna grab the Dryad Arbor here. Shock that into Oblivion. Alright. Do I take the draw step next turn? I think I'll take the draw step next turn. Crash in here. Oh, am I just dead to Cauldra, actually? I didn't do that math. I've just been, like, keeping that out of play. Yeah, seems like it. Yeah, so my opponent just has to pump. So this thing does trample, by the way. Yep. Yep, say Livy. Alright, so I should have held one of these back. Tabernacle wouldn't have done it. That would have been my draw. Okay. Yeah, so I don't have much for this matchup. Like, I can consider playing some of this stuff, but none of it's fantastic. I don't really want the Bojuka Bog. That can go. I'll probably keep all of my other lands. So that gives me the Collector Oof. And now just the question is, like, how much of this stuff do I want? I know my opponent has, like, Thalias and Spirit of the Labyrinths and stuff. This might be heresy, but I think I'm just going to pull these. I'm not sure if I actually want to play Force of Vigor versus I just want to play Endurance. Force of Vigor doesn't beat Cauldra, whereas Endurance stops a lot of the little things that would do chip damage at the beginning of the game. I'm not sure, like, to what extent I actually want to try to deal with my opponent's equipment. Unsure. But this is a 61 card deck. In that case, I'll play 2 Endurance, 2 Force of Vigor, and not think too much about it. This hand's fine. I'm going to keep this. Like, I have really good Inevitability in the form of Primeval Titan, and I have answers to my opponent's first 2 threats. I'm good with that. We'll just Windswept Heath, pass, and then, like, I will be able to start this game on triple basics. Okay, Valakut's fine. I think I'll just continue to pass the turn here. Sure. Stoneforge is fine. I think I will probably just Prismatic Ending that, rather than Swords to Plowshares. Just, like, use my mana at sorcery speed. There's the punish for my line. Both of these enter tapped. Okay, I mean, that is what it is. I will grab Plains. I will grab Forest. A 2 mana to Prismatic Ending that. I don't think I need to expose myself to Wasteland at all this turn. I think I can just make this land drop, and then next turn play Dryad, and then both of these as my lands. Rishadan Port messes with that a little bit. Okay, that's not that big of a deal. Okay, sure. I do not care. Alright, I'll go Dryad. Double tapped land here. And then next turn, I just have Primeval Titan if this doesn't leave play. Okay, it does leave play. I'm trying to get pretty cute here in terms of, like, some lines that I have available. Surgical the Field of the Dead. Okay. And that was done quickly too. Like, opponent knows what they're going for in the matchup. I respect it. I'll take my 2 damage here. Okay, well, this turn goes a little differently than I thought it was going to go. Because, like, this has very little application, but I very specifically do want to play the Sylvan Library that I just ripped so that I can hit my next land drop for Primeval Titan. Alright. Good stuff. I maybe don't get to go just, like, insane with Sylvan Library. Yeah, that's just Yorion to hand. I'll take 2 here. Like, there's a decent amount of incoming pressure. That's very good. Yes, I'll use this ability. I can 4 mana pick up another Dryad, then Swords to Plowshares Skyclave when my opponent tries to blink it. This is really tough. Because if I play the Green Sun, then I shuffle away this Life from the Loam, which I want. But hopefully I can just find another. Or I can naturally just hit 1 land drop. I think I'm just going to pay the life for 1 card here. Alright, so here's my Green Sun for 3. I will just pick up the Dryad. So now I have, like, Yorion and Blink Skyclave Apparition covered. Yep. Now this saves my Sylvan Library and allows me to do shenanigans with Dryad. Hopefully just, like, finding a fetch land and killing... Well, actually, it can be any land, and that's totally fine. I just need to find any land with Sylvan Library. Yes, I will use this ability. I found a land. This actually finds me a fetch land, doesn't it? It does. Just put that on top. Life from the Loam. Target 2 fetch lands. Go fetch land. Target Yorion. Always yes. Always yield. Okay, yeah, and my opponent has conceded there. We've got this one in, like, defining fashion at this point. They know about the Primeval Titan that's in my hand. I don't think I'll make any changes as far as the sideboard goes here. Okay, this hand's amazing if I draw a green mana, and absolutely dead if I don't. I'm just going to mulligan and try to find something a little more consistent, and unfortunately this one has to go back as well. This I can keep. I am probably not ready for Primeval Titan yet, and from there it's a little trickier. I think I'm going to throw back the Field of the Dead. Like, I definitely want to hit my 3rd land drop, but I'm going to kind of hope here that between Sylvan Library and a few draw steps, I will just hit. Looks like my opponent took 1 mulligan here. So we'll see if they have, like, a Mom or a Vial. They have a Vial. Prismatic Ending off the top? Damn. So this is almost certainly getting Forest Plains. I don't think it matters too much in which order I play them. Like, in order for the order to matter, my opponent has to be playing something fringe, like Ancient Tomb, Talia Heretic Cathar, Ancient Tomb, Archon, or something like that. Yeah, that's fine. Well, actually, it's not super fine, is it? Okay. So we're going to grab Forest Plains here. Plains. I will still play this library. Vial ticks up. Picking 3 this turn. Okay, I didn't just get, like, recruited into Stoneforge. My opponent could still just have an end of turn Stoneforge and just, like, kind of wreck me. Alright, so I don't even get the opportunity to use the Sylvan Library ability. So let's fetch. I will grab the island now. I am at 14 already. All of these are a little bit awkward right now. Let's start off with the Uro. It will gain me 3 life. And we're just going to plant that into the graveyard for later. And then hopefully, like, I can draw a land and make better use of one of these. I don't know. I just didn't really want to play the Dryad into the open mana there. Like, I would like to get nice value out of this card. Doesn't look like that's happening. I guess I'm just risking it at this point. Okay. Opponent did not have Swords to Plowshares, which is very good for me. Ooh, opponent is also not ticking up towards 5. They're just going to, like, hit a land drop and play Yorion. F. This is so bad. Alright. I can play land cards from my graveyard. Isn't that great? Great? Okay. We'll play something else that lets me hold the ground a little bit better. I'm just going to tap this straight up for the exploration rather than fetch. I am absolutely on the back foot here. Like, if I can just rip a removal spell for that spirit, things are fine. But if my opponent is playing around that by just holding a Flicker Wisp rather than, like, play out a Flicker Wisp to attack, I'm in a really bad position. Okay, Recruiter? Oh, it is a Flicker Wisp, sure. I'm gonna blink my X4 out of the way for the turn. Oh, you're gonna get that out of the way, sure. I guess you're just gonna Flicker Wisp the other one out of the way now. Oh, I see. Okay, so you want to flicker out the Dryad for my turn. That makes sense. Sure, sure, sure. Okay, you're gonna go for a land instead. Alright. I think I need to not fetch with this. I'll put this other library into play. I don't have Brainstorms in the deck right now. I wanted to play around Spirit. So I am dead in the air in 2 turns. That's not great for me. I kept a Sylvan Library-based hand and got absolutely punished by Spirit of the Labyrinth, which I had already tried to hedge against a little bit. And now, even if I hit the removal spell, I'm still probably dead, because I can remove... well, that buys me another turn. Leave these back. I can Endurance, trade with Flickerwisp in combat, but then, I still have this Yorion protected by Karakas to worry about. Yeah, my opponent is now, hedging towards, having to bounce the Yorion. Or if they just, have a Palace Jailer as their last card, that's absolutely savage, too. Alright, let's do this. And go to blocks. Trade with Flickerwisp, go to 3 life. Oh, yep, okay. I expect that is death. Sylvan Lib... Damn it! Okay, I'm not technically dead, right? I'm not technically dead. I can chump block this turn. And, go from there. So this vial goes up to 5. So that, Yorion can just come back into play. Yeah, okay, so that removes Endurance, and then I die. Alright, GG's. I just needed access to a few more cards. Okay, I think I'm gonna keep this opening hand here, but I think if I keep this opening hand, I have to commit to just, green sunning for a Dryad Arbor on turn 1 to just make sure that I can, bridge to the middle of the game here. Oh, okay. The I'm gonna flex and play stuff in my second main player. Sure. Okay. So we lose game 1 to whatever this is. Just we're absolutely dead to this. And actually, that's not true. I can rip an Endurance. Actually, I can't rip an Endurance. They're all in the sideboard. I'm going to concede to any discard spell. I'm also going to concede, I think, if I don't draw a Wasteland. I think Wasteland is the way that I'm not dead. Or Plowshares. Okay. Do I want to show Savannah? Or do I just want to concede? There's some worlds where my opponent built a slow pile, not knowing what's going on. I am going to thin a land out of the deck here. I expect to be dead. There's a lot of, non-interactive piles. Okay, I am not immediately dead. Tabernacle's not great. Tabernacle's very awkward. I can use it for mana, but the cost to do so is quite high. I think instead I'm just going to do this. Just junk that Lotus Petal. Okay. You've got your Brainstorm. So I don't even think I bother to attack. I think I'm better off holding up Swords to Plowshares for Thassa's Oracle on the off chance that my opponent has built a pile that does not empty their library. But it does not appear that that is the case. So now they have 0 cards. They will do an Oracle, which is apparently uncounterable at that. And then I am dead with no recourse. I guess, show me the Oracle at this point. Yep. All right. Because it makes me feel good. Fuck this fish on the way out. Goodbye. But unfortunately, Thassa's Oracle too strong. All right. Meddling Mage in, Endurance in, and then these cards, and technically also Collector Oof also have text. My Swords to Plowshares are coming out. My Bojuka Bog is coming out. I probably don't need Primeval Titan to win. Do I want Prismatic Ending? Not really. It has text. It can do things like what I just did, but they're all pretty anemic. I think I'll just let those go and then play some amount of this stuff. I think I want the Flusters for sure. And then I'm if I'm bringing in a handful of counterspells, like the Damping Spheres get worse. Let's find a... Oh, I'm a 61 card deck. I'm a 61 card deck. This does that. All right. Do I want to have the Collector Oof over some other Silver Bullet here? Sure. It's, like, not that good, but it shuts off some of the, like, LED Consider piles. Let's get that in over the Elvish. Well, get that in over the Uro. I don't need to grind. What an awkward hand. I should have boarded out this Tabernacle. I forgot to look at my lands more closely. And it's like, fine. I'm really disappointed I forgot to board out this land. They Livy. So let's get my acceleration on. And I'm hoping that my opponent leads on an Underground Sea. So that I can just like wasteland it. Did end up keeping the Reclaimer in the deck, so I can Green Sun for that next turn if that's something I want to do. I can also Green Sun for an Oof. Alright. I probably lose Endurance here. Because my opponent can just like naturally play around Mindbreak Trap pretty easily. Yep, kind of as expected there. Alright, nice. I'll just wasteland you. Now the question is, like, do I just want to fire off this Green Sun now? I think so. It's not impressive, but neither is Collector Oof in this scenario. Like, I'm gonna hope that I can just like wasteland my opponent a couple of times and then like beat down and maybe kill them through the Doomsday pile they're trying to make. I think I'm gonna go land, exploration, second land drop, and then intend on rotating away my Tabernacle into another land. I miss out on some damage this turn, but I put myself into a much better situation for the following turn. Alright. Activate you, sacrifice the Tabernacle. What land do I want? I don't have blue mana yet. How am I winning this game? Hardcasting Mindbreak Trap is maybe going to be more important than a lot of other things. I'm just going to grab a Misty here. And then I am going to upkeep, fetch. Like, I'm very sure that I want this to be Tundra. This gives me access to both of the colors that I don't have yet. Okay, so now what is this? Is it a 3-drop or a 2-drop? If I get Dryad, then I can just hard cast Mindbreak Trap every turn from here. Alright, I think I'm good with that. I crash in for 3, opponent goes to 14. And I'll play this for 3. Guess there's a world where my opponent like double fetches and dazes. Also probably gives me enough onboard power to beat a Doomsday, right? If opponent fetches down to 12, and then cast Doomsday goes to 6, it will have that much power in play. Okay, that was a long pause. I will just grab the Dryad. Again, there is some world where I just cast that for X equals 2 on Collector Oof instead. But this turns Mindbreak Trap into a real counterspell, instead of a counterspell that my opponent can just play around. Okay, the fetching is occurring. We might see something like a Brainstorm here. That's a pretty committal land choice. Okay. I will not sacrifice a land to repeat that. That's fine. So I think they're trying to put themselves in a situation where they can cast a Doomsday without just dying immediately. That is indeed what's happening. Mindbreak Trap exiles a spell. So, like, that can still counter Thassa's Oracle off of a, whatchamacallit, Cavern of Souls. Okay, my opponent nearly timed out figuring out their Doomsday pile. I'm just hoping to draw a land here. That's technically a land. Wanted an untapped land. Okay, so now I get to choose. I think Underground Sea is one of the cards that was in their Doomsday pile. They were hovering over that in their graveyard for a while. Although honestly, like, I ate breakfast in the time that they took to resolve their Doomsday pile, so like I wasn't paying super close attention. I can either not hold up Mindbreak Trap and put them to 3 and then have them dead next turn while wastelanding them, or I can hold up Mindbreak Trap and then like a daze gets me, and I get to give them another turn. Any land puts them dead next turn anyway. This is a bad spot. So, like, another question is, do they have, like, multiple Street Wraiths in their pile? If they have 2 Street Wraiths, then by attacking with both creatures, I shut off that line by putting them to 3. I think I'm just gonna hold up Mindbreak Trap, and then hope to kill them with a land next turn. Alright, there's my 2 damage. I'll hold up Mindbreak Trap. It's very possible that they missed that I can just hard cast Mindbreak Trap. But they also have to potentially, or and just potentially stop their entire pile by hitting this Brainstorm here. I'm going to do that. There's a world where this just loses me the game, but Pact of Negation. Okay, so they were just ready. Okay. So presumably your pile wins this turn then. So you fetch an Underground Sea out of your deck. Okay, sure. Okay, so that's Thassa's Oracle with exactly 2 cards left in it. Okay, GG's. Hey, if you made it this far in the video, it's pretty obvious that you're enjoying my content. Consider doing something to help me, whether it's something as small as leaving a like or subscribing to my channel, or doing something cool like doing a donation deck list, or even cooler, a dealer's choice donation deck list. Just saying, I get to do shenanigans every time that happens. Okay, back to the show. We've had to mulligan a lot of hands this league so far. This one's a keep. I'll put back this Bojuka Bog. Goodbye. Alright. Land go. There'll be some tension in this hand between, like, how many lands do I return with Life from Alone versus, like, how big do I make Knight of the Reliquary versus, like, wanting to make extra land drops via Dryad. So I'll have some stuff to think about. At the beginning of the game, though, I'm probably just going to maximize my Life from Alone value. Oh, did I really naturally draw the fucking Bojuka Bog and then throw it back in a mulligan when I'm paired against Game 1 Reanimator? What a fucking tilt. Okay. God damn it. Like, life is fucking cruel, man. Life is cruel. Alright. Drop, Tundra, Life from the Loam, grabbing both of these. I am so sad. So very, very sad. The good news is I can play Knight of the Reliquary next turn, and then tutor up a Caracas to get the Grizzlebrand out of play. I'm hoping... Yeah. Fuck. I was hoping that my opponent was going to have to take a turn off to, like, respect the fact that I could have counter magic, but now they know that, like, the coast is fucking clear. So I lose Knight so that I can't get Caracas, and then, like, Dryad Valakut somehow becomes my backup plan. Yep, as expected. I really hope this isn't just, like, another one of those leagues where I just 0-4 drop, but it is really feeling like it. Okay. And it's an animate dead, so, like, that didn't cost my opponent life, so they can go deeper on cards. I think I'm absolutely just dead here. Like, I don't care if I lose game 1 to Reanimator, but, like, the Bojuka Bog is insult to injury after just, like, sitting through so much doomsday downtime last round. Luckily, I cut that all out for you all, so you don't experience my pain. Well, not all of it, anyway. Okay. Yeah. I think at this point, this is just going to be enough power in play. Actually, hold on. It's Reanimates that are left. So that's actually fine. Oh, wait. Was that an Exhume as well that I just missed? It must be. Yeah, I just didn't see that the first time around. Oh, okay, they reanimate my Knight, and then Exhume. Okay, alright. Spirit is broken. Let's go to sideboarding. Meddling Mage is fine. Fluster is fine. Oof is fine. Endurance is good. These other cards have some text. I'll probably bring in Mindbreak Trap and then, like, leave these others. I do not want Prismatic Ending. I do not want the Tabernacle. So the first things that are coming in are the Endurances, followed by Flusterstorm. And I absolutely want Meddling Mage in all the time, and I think I always want Oof. I might want 2 more cards beyond that. I definitely want those on the draw. Unsure if I want them on the play. I probably still do. I don't think I need Primeval Titan. Knight can be my finisher off of Green Sun. Burrow's very slow for this matchup. I think I can junk that, and then I'll need to cut 3 more cards. I think I can go down on the libraries. Probably go down on a loam. And then go down on one of these. My deck's going to be a little less cohesive. This is very good when you're not playing against a combo deck that can just kill you on turn 1. But I don't think this is good enough here. Like, Collector Oof is something nice to, like, fish out of the deck, but not a reason to keep the hand. This is an awkward pile of cards that I am probably going to keep as an opening hand. Like, the combination of Mindbreak Trap and Caracas puts this into the keepable range. Now it's just a question of, like, do I want Life from the Loam, or do I just want to, like, make extra land drops via Dryad? I think I honestly just want to make extra land drops via Dryad. Like, I want my draws to be draws, rather than my draws to be dredges that aren't drawing me hate cards. Because, like, I have a lot of really good draws that allow me to hold up in instant speed Bojuka Bog. Alright, Unmask targeting me. Goodbye one of these 2 cards, depending on how my opponent is going to play out the next couple of turns. Yep. Alright, at this point I'll F6 and see if I get, like, Archon of Cruelty and lose my Dryad Arbor. Alright, here we go. There's the Entomb. My opponent could also just, like, still get the Grizzlebrand. Alright, yeah, they're going for the Archon. Alright, we're pretty much dead to that. Like, I lose my land drop. I have to discard another card. I have to, like, rip Swords to Plowshares. Sure. Alright. Land go. That's frustrating. By the way, this is why so many decks are so heavy on Graveyard Hate when playing on Magic Online. Decks everywhere. This puts me to 9. I'm not technically dead to the next attack, but I'm probably basically dead to the next attack, because, like, then, like, once I take 8 and can't fetch, I think I'm done. Cool. Alright. Oh, yeah, alright, I don't have outs to Sarah's Emissary. It's just not happening. Alright. GG's. We're 0-3 now. We're mulliganing. How about this one? This one's a little awkward. I'm so screwed if my opponent has a Wasteland and I keep this hand. I guess I'm gonna keep anyway. Like, ugh. I'm gonna just lean into it. I'm gonna grab Tropical Island, and then just, like, hope that my opponent doesn't Wasteland me on turn 1, because then I can neither Brainstorm nor Sylvan Library. Then I'll have my choice of which one of these I do on my next turn. Okay, did not get Wastelanded on turn 1. Sure. And trip away. Now the real question will be, like, do I greed and draw Brainstorm here? I don't think so. I think it is just too important to get the Sylvan Library in play and, like, take 1 billion damage to turn this hand into something respectable. Goodbye, Graveyard. Almost no matter what, I will take 8 next turn to my own Sylvan Library. Aha! You too have a Sylvan Library. Always yes, always yield. Absolutely, just eat this damage. Absolutely. I will start this off with a Brainstorm. Yeah. Let's get rid of swords and an island here. Maybe the exploration is worse than that last land. So I'll play forest. Yeah, I think I'll play this like this. I have a Savannah, right? Like, I do have another untapped green source, so I can actually play this exploration. Oh, shit, I forgot I already had an exploration in play. I should have kept that island over this other exploration. That was a mistake on my end. So this sets me up better to just, like, absolutely go off if I find Life from the Loam. I'm a little slow in the meantime. Alright, so opponent takes a little bit of damage here. Okay, they go after my Valakut. That's fine. I will just get a Ramunap Excavator. Nice. Hey, it's a Ramunap Excavator. How much damage do I just take here? None? I can put these 2 cards back, pay 4 mana. Yeah, I think I take none. Like, at some point, I do have to play a little conservatively with my life total. And I can probably, like, make my decision about losing life later just as easily. It's a long pause. The thing about how I've played this is that if this gets countered, I still have 2 pieces of gas on top of my library, which is fantastic. My Dryad can attack in safely this turn. Same is not necessarily true later. I will make this land drop, but there's a world where I'm supposed to save that for next turn. Yep. I knew that was safe this turn, whereas next turn, once my opponent has one more land in play, it is no longer safe. Okay, opponent was more aggressive than I was with life total. Which does mean that if this Valakut gets active, they're super dead to it. Okay. So now, which order did I put those cards in? Because it's super relevant. I mean, both of them are good cards, but okay, good. It's the order that I want them to be in. Excellent. So, I play Ramunap Excavator. Opponent needs to have another Force of Will. God, why? Why? I just have a Knight of the Reliquary on top of my deck. I'm not super worried about it. I'll just take out this land and attack my opponent for 2. They'll go to 5, and then I will have a very large Knight of the Reliquary. What, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there'll be 5 lands in graveyard. It'll be lethal in a single hit if I can get in. So you're gonna hold. Wow. Okay. So you have like another Icefang Coatl. Yes, I'm good with that. Yes. So this is fine. Don't even have to pay the life here. I'll play Knight of the Reliquary. Not gonna walk into another Icefang here. Yep. So I can like turn Bojuka Bog into a Valakut and then kind of like go from there in terms of like grinding my opponent out. It's just not worked out well for me. I've played many Haymakers in a row, but like now my opponent has an active Sylvan Library, and I don't have anything. Life from the Loam is like cripplingly good here. Green Sun's fine. Oh man, opponent has an answer to my Dryad. Great. I think I am going to go ahead and copy my opponent's Tundra. And I'm just going to leave this Windswept Heath in play. Individual points of life very much might matter this game. F. Yeah, I mean, I can't attack into another Icefang. It's just not viable for me to do so. Oh, it was Endurance, even worse. Okay, so I lose my graveyard as well. Alright, I have Haymakers that can swing the game, but it just has to be right now. Every turn, I just get closer to my opponent finding something like a Jace or a Narset or a Teferi that just spins this game so hard. Ugh. Alright, opponent's draws have been pretty good here. Kappa. Alright. I mean, I think it's worth the life to put a land into my graveyard here. I already lose to Back to Basics. Accordingly, probably should not play around it. Alright, I'll do that. Get this land drop. And I need to hope for, like, a Field of the Dead caliber card here. I'm somewhat surprised my opponent didn't, like, Brainstorm. Well, I guess, like, if they find Force of Negation later, not that big of a deal. But, like, I think you're supposed to do that with the Life from the Loam on the stack. You open up some lines. Okay. So that sorts to Plowshares, removing this. Take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage on my turn. I go to 2. Not sure that Life from the Loam bails me out at that point. Yeah. From 2, I don't know that like a Life from the Loam is going to save me. I don't know that anything is going to save me. This is so many bodies. I don't have a Glacial Chasm to hit. Yeah, I think I just have to take a draw. That will not do it. Alright, dead. I also don't think I get to sideboard versus this deck. Like, I can straight up just, like, play some Endurances to help deal with opposing Uros and keep my opponent's graveyard small for things like Snapcaster. Or take out this Tabernacle. I think I'm gonna take out one Exploration and one Prismatic Ending. Actually, Prismatic Ending versus Swords to Plowshares. Prismatic Endings hit Planeswalkers, which I presume my opponent is going to have. Swords to Plowshares being an instant, though, is kind of a big deal for some of the, like, Endurance and Icefang Coatl ambushes. Okay, I mean, I have a functional Life from the Loam hand here. I do have to make a choice about what land Misty Rainforest gets first, but I'm guessing I can just play, like, Forest Plains at the beginning of this game, and then eventually get an island off Life from the Loam. I don't think I want to just get Trop immediately, because, like, some of these piles play Wasteland, and it would be disastrous for me to lose this only green source that I have. I don't have to, like, make the decision about fetching until my next turn, though, unless I want to end of turn Brainstorm. Which I don't necessarily think that I want to do. Like, a real easy way to lose this game would be for me to just, like, get Tropical Island, get Force of Negation, and then just lose to a Wasteland as a follow-up. So let's stick on basics for right now. Forest Loam. Alright. It has resolved. I don't think I dredge this first turn. I think I just take a draw here. Nice. Okay. So now I will grab the actual island out of my deck. I'll play Dryad. Ooh, getting a response. For sure. Oh, is it just an Ice Fang? Yeah, just an Ice Fang that they were going to cast anyway. That's fine. And then I'll play the fetch land out. I might upkeep Brainstorm. Like, these Brainstorms are going to get better and better the longer I hold them, though, because, like, I will dredge lands from Life from the Loam. Yeah, okay. That's fine. Yeah, I think I'm just going to eat that and dredge Life from the Loam. Oh, lots of goodies in the graveyard, including an Uro. Can't quite make Uro work this turn. That's okay. Let's just leave that Uro in there. I'll cast a Life from the Loam. I'll return a bunch of cards. I'll cast a Brainstorm. Sure. I will dredge that. So I'll put 2 of these cards back. Probably Wasteland Stage. I'll fetch. Or like a Trop. Do I Loam again now? Sure. I'll return these to my hand. I think I'm just, like, rediscarding one of them anyway, though. Okay, just straight up Force of Willing that. That's fine. Like, a Rest in Peace would be really good, because that would hit my, like, Uro and Life from the Loam at the same time. That was a reason to not actually cast that Life from the Loam. Oh, but they're probably an Uro deck. Who am I kidding? They're not playing Rest in Peace, right? I'll take my 1 here. That's fine. I don't think I need that this turn. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's my turn. The Uro is really good too, though. Like, maybe I'm just supposed to, like, grind my Uro value. Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to just grind my Uro value. Blue, blue, green, green. Yeah, I'm fine losing all of that stuff. The Caracas is okay. But let's just make my opponent deal with this. Nice. Okay, yep, it ate a Source of Plowshares. Do I want to dredge? No, I don't think so. Alright, so I'll just play this. And just leave that in play for right now, I guess. There's white-green for 2. I'll just take that out. I have my opponent's potential Uro covered with my own Endurance. I have, like, a Haymaker in the form of Life from the Loam and another in the form of Primeval Titan. I feel pretty good here. If Primeval Titan resolves, I get, like, Field of the Dead. And I think that just instantly wins the game on the spot. Okay, doesn't seem like opponent's doing anything here. I will not dredge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, more than enough. Alright, let's attempt prime time. It resolves. Very nice. Yes, I'm gonna grab Field of the Dead and Bojuka Bog. And, like, I know I have this Endurance here. Yeah, that's just nice, it's nice in that, like, that will allow me to, like, brainstorm back that Endurance and turn that into another card. I think on the draw, I'm gonna make this swap. Like, I didn't see any Planeswalkers that game, but I don't know. I don't want to have to deal with a Jace that's just gonna, like, sit around and, like, have no outs to that. A little awkward, but yeah, I'll keep this. Gonna be another one of those hands where, like, if my opponent were to have a Wasteland and hit me off my green, it would be quite bad, but otherwise this is probably fine. No shuffle on that Ponder. Okay. Land, exploration, throw this into play. I would like to draw a fetch land to, like, start making my Life from the Loam good. I think I just have to cast a Naked Loam here. I know there's no legal targets. I am aware. But I think just playing out the Naked Dryad is just, like, not good. Okay, opponent did not fetch for an end of turn Ice Fang. Will Dredge. Okay, there's 2 land drops in there. I mean, that's exactly what I want. Let's see if it works. Don't force a negation me. It's so good. It's so good here. Don't do it. F. Okay, yeah. So my opponent got, like, 2 turns worth of tempo by countering that Life from the Loam, because I spent a turn to just, like, naked cast it in the first place. Okay. Dana Jace. We are... I mean, this is why I brought in this other Prismatic Ending on the draw. Any land drop. Well, I guess not a colorless producing one. Most of my land drops will allow me to remove that. Okay. So they're fate sealing me. Their fate seal decisions are probably quite difficult here. Alright, so this gives me a longer term way to answer this Jace. Okay, nice. I get an additional land drop here. But I do not have the colors I need, or yeah, I don't have a play here. Yeah, my opponent, like, put something on bottom with Jace, and then, like, it's just super backfired by me finding Loam. I have some really cool lines next turn involving, like, Dryad, Life from the Loam, hit a fetch land, like, play fetch. Oh wow. I wonder if my opponent thinks I just have, like, no outs to this Jace. Will Dredge. Wasteland. I think I don't play Prismatic Ending into, like, active Force of Will. I think I try to do some other things first. So I think I'm going to use this Dryad as my bait spell. Success. Okay, yeah, hard casting it. Nice. Okay, so I played around that successfully. Alright, so now I don't have another green, so I can't play Life from the Loam this turn, but that's fine. So I have 2 very different Haymakers here that I can choose to play. And then there's also this Uro that's chilling in my graveyard. My mana doesn't quite work for that yet. Alright, just absolutely taking Jace to the top here. Alright, and they've left something on top this time. It's a land. I actually want those. Which one of these is the bait spell? This is ultimate at 12, right? Yeah. I think Primeval Titan is the bait spell. As weird as that is. This needs to produce green. I have plenty of white. I think I'm just going to grab a basic here. Forest. So this will basically win the game if it resolves, because Field of the Dead is very hard to beat from this position. So now my opponent has to have Force of Will plus blue card, and I'm just trying to, like, pressure them into this situation where I run them out of counters, and then I can just Prismatic Ending this Jace off the board. Okay. Are we resolving? Oh, we're resolving. Fantastic. Yes. 100% of the time I get Field of the Dead. And then I think I'm going to get Bojuka Bog. The reason might be a little non-intuitive here, but I know Snapcaster Mage is in my opponent's deck, and I do not want to open myself up to Snapcaster Force of Negation. That's fine. Alright, so I lose my graveyard. So the other thing that Bojuka Bog does is it gives me another card that produces non okay. Gives me another card that produces other colors for Prismatic Ending. Ugh. Back to basics there is really rough. It was a really tough set of cards to hit there. I can Prismatic Ending away the back to basics and then not have a way to answer Jace. That's tough. Okay, so my opponent left a card on top. It is presumably a land. Is it an untapped land? If it's an untapped mana-producing land, then I just play Prismatic Ending on Back to Basics right now. And then next turn, I can play Primeval Titan, create a whole bunch of zombies, and then attempt to have a clock that kills my opponent. Or just rip another Prismatic Ending. Alright, I'm going to hope that my opponent left a land on top of my library. They did. Okay. So, that produces zombies. I fetch. Oh my god. I only have green and white producing lands in my deck currently. Okay, the plan has changed. Oh man, I also can't use Prismatic Ending to get rid of Endurance in this spot. Built. Alright. I'll grab a Plains. Base is at 10. So, I will play this critter. Now this critter means that next turn, I can Prismatic Ending away back to basics. Or, if I draw a land, I can Prismatic Ending a Jace. Or hell, the Endurance too. Alright, it's in play. I hope Terminus is not a thing that exists. Alright, opponent thought for a minute and then did nothing. Fuck. Alright, F6, like, do your thing. That makes it very hard to pressure the Jace. Holy hell, my Prismatic Ending has a lot of targets right now. Okay, sure. Yeah, okay, so I do have some islands left in my deck. Windswept Heath just couldn't fetch them, by the way. In case that becomes relevant in a minute. Alright. We have finally pushed Jace into Brainstorm mode. I do have Dryad Valakut, by the way. Never mind. I do not have Dryad Valakut. We tried. Alright, I think I have to just take a draw here. Fate's fucking cruel, man. Fate's fucking cruel. I have 2 colors of mana. I can't cast my green spell, and I can't use Prismatic Ending to actually take out anything that matters here. My opponent's last card, a Brainstorm. I think I need to attempt to poke this Jace down a bit. I'm going to throw away probably a zombie here on the Endurance. Yep. Okay. So I take enough pressure off of myself that I won't just immediately die to Jace ultimating. I'll die to Mentor instead. And I probably take a decent amount of damage by, like, not holding back these zombie tokens, but... Alright, back to Fate Seal mode. And whatever is there is staying there. Okay, this is a really conservative attack. That's fine. I will not... Come on! Come on! Like... Alright. Alright. I'm not mad, you're mad. Alright, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and hold back, and we'll try to do Endurance shenanigans. Okay, Fate Seal again. Alright, it's just remained on top. I'll cast this. Just one more thing that makes my opponent's life awkward. I kind of thought they might have Snapcaster Mage in hand. Yeah. But again, if they Snapcaster Swords to Plowshares this Endurance, then that's like a Snapcaster Mage that won't be available to do something that I'm more scared of. Okay. I'm gonna Dredge Life from the Loam. Look at all those lands that don't actually produce the colors of mana that I need them to produce. F. Okay. They had the Force of Negation. Fuck. That's okay. I took a bunch of quite bad draws off the top of my library. Well, like, this is a good draw. The rest are not. A clock starting to become a real concern for both of us, just by the way. Also, is Tabernacle currently in my sideboard? Tabernacle is currently in my sideboard. Okay, sure. Alright, we're gonna stare at each other. Okay, cool. Here's a land. Oh, this is a fucking Windswept Heath again, so it doesn't get me blue. Fuck. Jace at 10, by the way. So I have to go for a Prismatic Ending on Jace next turn and have it resolve. That's a rough thing to add into the mix. I also think Dryad Arbor might be the only land that's left for me to fetch with this. Yeah. Not great. Ramunap Excavator gets me 4 different lands, none of which produce the correct colors. That is beyond frustrating. Okay. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different thingies. Yeah. I'm playing a Ramunap Excavator. Will get me Savannah as a land drop, and this will get me Wasteland as a land drop. Windswept Heaths are dead now. I will Prismatic Ending on a token. I will Prismatic Ending on a token. Fuck it, I'll Wasteland your drop. Actually, I probably should not have done that. Like, that's a land that might help me cast that Primeval Titan later. 2, 4, 6, 7 attacking creatures. I also have 7 things. Whatever, I'll send them at Jace. Causes some losses on my opponent's side, but wonder if I'm more likely to win by timeout than by, like, damage at this point. And then that last one here will go in front of Dryad Arbor. Jace gets to ultimate. I don't think I am going to beat. Well, I don't know. I get a couple of land drops from Graveyard. Oh, I didn't check to see if I could, yeah. Oh, my opponent... yeah, okay. Alright. Well, I mean, I fought valiantly, but I ultimately do not get there. So this is an 0-4 league. We're out. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Great Inevitability. Very slow to get started, and very weak to opposing combo in game 1. I do think this list is difficult to play. Like, I definitely made mistakes, and there were other things that I could have been thinking about, and some of those decisions about, like, do I just dredge loam, or do I just, like, take a draw step are very tough for nuanced reasons. I don't necessarily think that the list itself is bad, despite the fact that we owe Ford. Like, I think there's some very interesting things going on here. But I do not think that a Magic Online League is the place for this. I think there's just, like, too much Doomsday and Reanimator floating around in the leagues. And if you're so soft to them in game 1 and your, like, sideboard cards don't necessarily just, like, win you the game on the spot, I don't know that this is what I want to be playing. It was a hell of a showing for Field of the Dead, though. Like, despite how incredibly unlucky I got in, like, not drawing a colored mana source that I needed for so many turns. Like, Field of the Dead almost got there anyway. I hope you all enjoyed this league. I'm going to go do something else other than this for a little while now. Have a great rest of the day. See ya.